This is your accordion card. So it's Kinetic, and then I put an easel card on top of it. It's really cool. I wish my grandson was still younger, because he would have loved this. So I'm going to show you the easel element, which I'm sure that you all know how to do, but I will show you briefly how to do that as well. But the really cool part is that he has a rocket launcher. Look at this. Isn't that super cool? Can you imagine a little boy, 4, 5, 6 years old, and they receive that? So you can see there all the planets that are drawn, the one in the background behind here, the little astronaut, they're all drawing files within this USB as well. And then I'm going to teach you how to make this mechanism. It's super simple. It's just knowing which way you fold the card, that's all. All right, so let's get started on this. So I've already cut everything because I wanted you to just have short, sharp demos that you can dip in and out of. You're not having to wait for me to find all the files on the scan and cut, but I have labelled them so you know what's what. So this is the accordion base, which is just a square. And then you also have accordion base mat 1. Now you do have a second one as well, but I didn't use that on mine because it kind of covered up the areas where I needed to place these accordion strips, so it didn't really work for me, but you've got an extra one there if you want it. So you will see I've put white lines on here. This is actually where the score lines are, and they're not there to fold, they're there as a guide so that you know where to put these strips. So you're going to cut 4 accordion strips, and in your booklet that comes with the USB it will give you a full cutting list of what you need, because otherwise that would have been hard work, wouldn't it? So we've given you the cutting list, and then you've got a photograph of the finished project, maybe even 2 photographs. Now you cut 4 of these and you fold with a valley fold, and I'm just going to explain what that is. I know most of you will know, but we do get new customers all the time. So a valley fold creates a V, and a mountain fold creates a peak, like a mountain. All right, so we go valley, mountain, valley, mountain. And the way that you stick these on is so that the straight edge there, the open straight edge, goes to the edge of that base. So you're going to stick them in like that. So your top piece is facing in towards the center. All right, so we're going to stick these down, and it's up to you whether you use a wet glue or a dry adhesive. It's entirely up to you. It's very warm in here today, and I've just been on air, so my glue's a little bit bunged up. Plus I am a devil for losing lids, so that doesn't help either. So I'm going to put wet glue on there. The reason that I like to use wet glue for this is because I'm all right at lining stuff up straight, but maybe not necessarily first time. So I like to just give myself a little bit of wiggle room to be able to move that round. And unlike red liner tape, I can wiggle it. If you put red liner tape on, when it's down, it's down. And I don't want you to have to start cutting everything else out after that. So I've got one here, and I'm going to put one in exactly the same way all the way around. So valley, mountain, valley, mountain. I'm going to rotate this round and then stick this one. And they're not going in the 4 corners, which you might expect. So when I looked at it, I thought, well, these must go in within the perforation lines. They go in between. They go in the middle of the 2 squares that are on the left and the right. And trying to just explain that in words takes a lot of words. And sometimes as a crafter, when we're visual learners, a lot of words just confuse us. Hence us doing these videos. And I quite like doing this. Well, I really like doing it because I think it reminds me of teaching again, which I have missed massively, I have to say. So there's going to be a lot of that, a lot more of that going on. So we've got our 3rd one here. So I'm just checking each time that I've got valley, mountain, and I'm sticking that one in there, making sure that I'm lining up to the edge of that mat, giving it a nice firm press down. And then on this one, what I've done is I've already started to do the mats and layers. So you will get mats and layers for the accordion strips. So I just wanted to pop one on with all the bits stuck on, because I think it's just important that you know what I've done on the actual card itself. You can mat and lay them if you want or not. If you don't want to, you could put photographs of the birthday boy or girl on there as well if you wanted to. It's up to you how you decorate it. But I just wanted, when I briefed the team about this USB, I was like, right, I want 30 Kinetic cards, and I want loads of different styles of embellishments. I don't necessarily want, this is the accordion card, and you make it with these embellishments. So you could do this with the princess embellishments and have the castle or the unicorn going up. It's up to you. We just gave you so many different drawing files. And if you're not a colour-innerer, because we don't all like colouring in, you can draw them onto pieces of coloured card and then scan them in and cut them out. But there are also cutting files for a lot of the embellishments as well. So you can paper piece them and layer them up. So we've tried to think of everything that you might want to do. So then on the other side of here, I just cut another set of the larger mats so that when the cards lift up, you've got a nice colour on the other side. So your double ones go on the outside and your single mats, if you want to, go on the inside. All right, and they're all in the same cutting file, so you just cut the larger ones twice, that's all. But again, it's up to you how you decorate it. Right, so we then need to make sure that they go on that way, so all 4 pieces are facing in. All right, so I'll put glue on this on the back of here. Now I've made a little mistake here because I've stuck one of the mats on this one, so I would advise you don't stick a mat on the bottom one so that it goes flush on your card. All right, and this is when I make all the mistakes, you see, before I actually go on air, but it's good for you to see and it's good for me to explain to you why. Okay, right, so I've now got this, so I've got all my 4 pieces that are going to fold in like this, all facing forward at the top. So then you have a pull strip. So what I would advise you do is fold these 2 in, and then the pull strip that looks just like a cross is going to glue underneath there like that, and get it central so you know exactly where you want it to be, so it's even on all 4 sides. And then I'm just going to see if I've got a pencil, which I have, and I'm going to put a little line across those 2 so I know where to put the glue. Okay, so just take your time and work out where they need to go. So now I can take this out and I know I need glue there and glue there to start with. And I know how far up I can go with my glue. Okay, and then I can see from this guide, the pencil line here, that I can do these 2 at the same time. And make sure you put enough glue on, and I don't mean, by that I don't mean a thick layer, I mean go to the edges of the pieces of card, because that's what's going to hold it in place. You don't need to put tons of glue on, and then we can start to stick this in. So if I do this one first, and I'll do it like this, making sure I'm getting it in the middle of this square here. Just give that a bit of a squeeze so it grabs. Then do this one and line it up there. Push it down and line that up like that. And then fold these in. This is the little bit that you've got to wait for it to dry, okay? So I'm not waiting for it to dry, I'm just forging ahead, aren't I? That's going to go underneath that one like that, and then this is going to, you need to remember to lift this up, tuck that underneath, and then push that down. Okay, and then you've got your mechanism that pulls up and down. Isn't that cool? So I'm going to stick that onto the base now. And I've just done them in black and white so it's easy for you to see on camera, but you do them in whatever colour you want them to do them in. So I'm going to just put glue on here, and this is going to get played with a lot, I suspect. There's no small parts, so we're all right with this for younger children, but I would always advise that you're adult supervision anyway. And then I'm going to pop this on top of there, and it's only a very narrow mat, it's not too much, just enough to be able to give you that white or whatever colour it is around the outside edge. Right, so I would then leave that to dry completely. Okay, and then because I wanted to, because this was the card originally and it just pulled up and down like that, so it's almost like a lantern. In fact, you could use it as a lantern if you wanted to, and maybe put like a little battery operated tea light in there, something like that, because it will stand like that. But I wanted to put an easel card on top because I wanted to make sure that I wanted this, as soon as I saw the mechanism, I was like, that looks like a astronaut type of launch pad kind of thing. So that's why I did the card like that. So what you're going to do now is put glue on all these squares here, because your top piece, your base, is going to sit on there. Put it on your pull strip as well. And get plenty of glue on here. If you want it to be really, really, really firm, use red liner tape, but then put white glue over the top, because that will give you that wiggle room to line it up. And then this one here. Okay, then I'm going to take the accordion top and I'm just going to line it up with the edge of the accordion here or here, whichever suits you, and then press down, because if you get the top and bottom ones lined up, the rest will follow. So I'm lining it up with the edge of this accordion part there and here, and as long as that lines up, the rest will then follow, and then we've got our mechanism like that. Okay, now I'm just going to go through the layers of the easel card as well, just in case anybody hasn't made one before. So I've got all my pieces. So what I did was I sat down and I just cut everything out of black and white and put them in bags. So you might want to do that. You know, if you teach classes, you could already have it all bagged up rather than relying on everybody having a cutting machine, which would be good. So this is one of the cutting files. So you get the 2 circles that are already welded for you. So we've done that bit. The bit that we haven't done is put a perforation line through the middle, because you can do that with you can just use a scoreboard and put a score line in. And the reason for that was, if you wanted to just have it as a rocker card on top instead of an easel, you could do that. All right, so we've given you that. Then we've also done the piece that goes over the top, so exactly the same size circle, which covers over that hinge and makes it look neater. So you're going to put your glue just on the bottom half of the easel card, like this, and then glue that circle on top. So rather than you having to get the circle from the scan and cut and weld it, etc., we've done that bit for you. Like that. You've got some internal mats and layers, so inner mats. Now on inner mat 1, what I did was I drew the actual planet itself. If I just bring this back in, you'll be able to see. So the background behind the astronaut there is one of the planet files, and I just resized it to the size of inner mat 1. And then drew it and coloured it in. And what's really nice about colouring these images in is, because they are quite well, they are childlike images, you don't have to go to the lengths of shading it and thinking about where the light and shade is and have I got enough depth in it. You can just colour it in block colours, because that's how children would colour. So I think that's a really nice way of getting used to you using colour if you want to, or like I said, you can do them with coloured card. So your inside mat will go in here, and then you've got an inner mat that goes inside the frame as well. So you've got an inner mat that goes on the outside, but you'll see as you start to build up your card, then you've got 2 frames that go around there, and you've got another mat to go inside. So let me talk you through this bit, because this is the important bit. So that's your inner mat. And then you have these 2 frames. So I'm going to stick this one down. And then what I would, if you want to do it as a card like I've done it with the acetate, you would then cut another piece of acetate this size. So inner mat 3, like that, okay? And then you've got your 2 frames, and one is narrower than the other. So again, we've given you a cutting file for that, rather than you having to make the frame. We've done that for you, because quite often on A you'll see me just go, right, so we're just going to put 2 circles, one inside each other, but we've done that for you. And then you would put your piece of acetate, you'd glue it behind here, so you'd put 3D foam on the back of your frame and stick your acetate to that, and then that goes over the top, and your 3D foam holds it. So wet glue on here, onto your acetate, then 3D foam, and then this on top. And then you've got your astronaut that will go behind it. So make sure, don't do what I did. I did this. I put this on, put my acetate on, and then went, oh, and put my astronaut inside. So I had to peel it off. So just make sure that you think about the order that you do it in, madam here. And that's how you would build at the top. But I'm going to do shaker cards with you as we go through the different videos. So if you've never made one before, I can show you a little bit more about 3D foam tape then. But then you will have, well, this will then bring this back in. And then this will then sit on top of there. I used a little astronaut as a stopper, and you can decorate it how you want. So I'm going to bring in the finished one again so I can just talk you through what I did with this. So I just chose some quite primary colours for this. I wanted it to be for a boy, not that we don't have female astronauts, because we do. And I just used a font inside the machine's memory that says, to a special boy. Or actually, no, I didn't. I used one of the sentiments that's on the USB, because we've given you some of those as well. But to a special boy was in a straight line. So I just moved the words underneath each other. I'll show you how to do that actually before, after I finish the last video. And just lift, look, just lift that up now. Isn't that cool? And you can resize all these, of course. And then I just scaled this little astronaut down, put a piece of acetate behind there and just put a crease in it so he stands up. And I find acetate really good for hinges because it doesn't tear. So sometimes when these get moved a lot with card, it'll wear away at the fold line and it tears, whereas with acetate it doesn't. And I use the Paper Mania Construction Weight one. You can buy it in 12 by 12 sheets, and it's a really good heavyweight acetate, but the Scan and Cut glides through it. So if you wanted to, you could cut loads of little stars, put them in your shaker as well if you want, but I just thought that was a really nice accordion card for a little boy's birthday. Right, I'm going to get rid of this one, set up the next one, and then I'll see you in a bit.